All right. In this video, I just wanted to cover some things, address some things that I think are need to be addressed. The current state I'm in, the current state our culture's in, the current state of women. You know, being a red pillar is not all it's cracked up to be. You know, I felt it was kind of a, it was something I got kind of forced into more than readily welcomed. You know, there's good parts to it and not so good parts to it. You know, as I've kind of told a lot of people my story on social media. I've self-disclosed some about being a man with a disability. I've Asperger's syndrome, high-functioning autism. I work just part-time right now. That's all I can do. I do have a degree, and I'm hoping to get into the... I'm hoping to become either a therapist in a school or a school para. That's kind of what I'm looking to get into here. Hopefully this year I will have something landed, established in that realm. It's been a rather long and painful journey, you know. I'm not a kid anymore, and my parents, especially my mom, who's done a very good job of looking after me and helping me and, you know, trying to get me, trying to make sure I'm in a safe and secure place, to which I am very grateful. They're getting on in years. They're getting old. They're old. Actually now, I mean, they're probably going to be passing on here fairly soon. And I'm kind of hoping before that time I do maybe have I'm able to establish a relationship with somebody of the opposite sex. You know, that's all in part of God's plan, but we'll see what happens. You know, it's in His hands. But as you know, I'm not a kid. I'm in my 40s now, and I've endured some things, and you know, most of the young women I know or come into contact with, no matter their age or even age, but ethnic group or whatever, they're almost all single mothers these days. If they're not married, you know, if they're not married or engaged or something of that, have a live-in partner, they're most of them are single moms, and that's a dilemma for me. You know, it really is. In a number of ways. You know, first off, being that I'm a man, and also that I have the challenges of having a disability. You know, but here's the biggest the thing that I cannot accept, and I've had a lot of discussions and arguments with people online about this particular topic, is that I guess the biggest one that I can think of offhand is how and why should a man who didn't father your children be expected to raise your children and be okay with that? be okay with another child that's not his own raising them. Assuming, of course, there's more than one. If there's one, you know what? I'll even go so far as to say if there's one, I might be able to entertain it. I mean, I might, and this is a loose thing. I might, very much might. But the thing I don't want to feel is obligated. I don't want to feel obligated to have to raise your kid, especially when his father is still alive and well. That's a big problem for me, you know. And it says a lot about the entitlement of modern day women, and that they really, and how deep-seated this hatred for men, heterosexual men, has become. It really is deep-seated. And as we see, not only in both black and white cultures, we're seeing this generational cycle again and again and again of these women reproducing. The father disappears or is killed or whatever, mostly disappears, and then that cycle is repeated and repeated. It's kind of like, I'm trying to, I don't know what phrase, there's some kind of phrase I'd like to use to describe that, some kind of fate, or I can't think of it right offhand, but it just goes to show you how badly entitled these women are, and that they will cut off their nose to spite their face. They'll date losers. They'll date losers and deadbeats and get knocked up by them just because. Just because. And they're in the churches now too. And in this culture of tolerance, that's what the tolerance is. It's the tolerance of narcissism and complacency and dysfunction and evil, depravity. That's where it all comes down to. And holy crap, if a dude doesn't have any respect from his woman, if he has no control over his woman, he's got nothing, man. He's got nothing. You might as well find a cliff and jump off it. End it. You know. Yeah, I got to rant here a little bit. I really do. This topic does strike kind of close to home for me. I don't want to go into all the details here, but I almost had my life. Well, I did have my life sabotaged by a single mom, so this does strike a chord for me. I mean, this does strike home, and I have to say stuff about this. And I appreciate anybody that listens to this, and to the women that I send this to, you know, all I gotta say is, you know, get off your high horses. For one, I'm not really into you all that much, except as in a platonic sense. And I want you to hear another perspective than you're hearing constantly about deadbeat dads and all that sort of stuff. You know. And again, I gotta say, these women that get knocked up by these married men or deadbeats or these generational losers. I mean, we can blame them too, but we also have to say, why did you let yourself go down that road again? Why did you repeat fate? Why did you do what your mother did? And there are generational curses, I do believe so. I mean, the Bible even says so. The Bible says so. So in that sense, I guess maybe, you can go against free will, but in the end, I do believe everybody chooses their own destiny as well. You can't blame everybody you can't blame God. You can't even blame Satan. I mean, Satan might put the opportunity there, but inevitably you choose to do it. And you can't just run around blaming people and blaming God or blaming Satan for everything. You gotta turn around, look in the mirror, and say, I did it to myself. I put myself here. And all these issues on the news, that's why I don't watch the news anymore. I've stopped watching the news altogether. I look through it on my Facebook and Getter pages, but I don't get into any. I refuse to, and Newsmax maybe a little bit, but other than that, nothing. They all have an agenda. They're all spewing talking points that, and getting at the surface of everything, and hoping people will get stoked by their own prejudices and inner fears and project them onto other people and create all these little groups where people just circle jerk. Because that's what the alt-right and the alt-left are ultimately doing, is just circle jerking to their own, to what they want to hear, basically. Anyways, and just to finish this off, I want to kind of times get clicking along here a little bit. I like to keep my things short and to the point if I can. I know this girl, and we would go back and forth on Facebook a bunch of times, but something I want the women to think about. This is an interesting case. Okay, she and this goes into my talk of entitlement. This girl is married now, but she got angry at something I posted and calling illegitimate children bastards, which actually is, according to dictionary definitions, that's totally correct. But anyway, she got angry with me about this and really butthurt and said, how dare you say these kinds of things? My husband, my current husband, knew I was a single mom and had already had a child, and he willingly took the child under his own took him as his own, and she said it in a way like he better have, and not only that, but and which kind of tells me too that he's the submissive one in the relationship. And also, on top of that, she runs around flaunting about how she's a bisexual, openly bisexual. Now, I don't know what this dude's all about. I really don't, and I don't know why he's allowing himself to be treated like this, except he's a total beta male cuck. And all I have to say to you ladies that may listen to this is, if the situation were reversed, if it was a man saying these things, what would you think? What would you say? Would you deal with it? I somehow don't believe you would. But anyway, that's all I have for today.